10 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Tamba never speaks.
Slam dunk on my coverage here in Salt Lake City. The Redbirds in Wichita State.
Coach Haver putting on one of his best performances. In order to win, sometimes you got to learn how to lose.
This game tips off around 8:30. The Chiefs in the 2010-2011 season.
Practice session in basketball.
It's time with the Vols program. Today's Cake Sports Athlete of the Week.
Pow, right in the kiss. Well, Bill Snyder isn't exactly an overzealous Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40 type.
A contrast of styles between both of those squads. You're talking about a stout defense against a high-scoring offense.
Good evening, or good night, or whatever you want to call it. Welcome to Overtime Live. Thank you for joining us. Playing the role of Justin Bieber tonight. I'm Chris Frye.
Well, obviously, a loss is never a good thing, but it takes a lot of pressure off you. Obviously, the pressure's on Oklahoma State tonight. So with that said, do you see K-State possibly giving the Pokes a problem, maybe even getting an upset?
Okay, I'll be the first to admit it. I did not think the Chiefs had a snowball's chance in posting a record of 4-3, especially through 8 weeks of the season. I'm Chris Frye. We are 1 week from district play, folks, so tonight was a final tune-up before the real fun begins.
There you see it, folks, live and in living color, the Wichita Wings logo for the highly anticipated return for the Wings tonight here at Hartman Arena.
Hey, it could happen. All eyes were on the Wings tonight, not just here in Wichita, but all the major indoor soccer league was watching as well. So, hey, guys, no pressure.
It was an opportunity that Kansas State had waited for all season. A top 10 matchup against Oklahoma in front of a national audience.
Well, every now and then you get a mulligan, but when you lose to a winless team at home, you lose points. Cool points, brownie points, you name it.
Chris Frye live at a blustery Collegiate High, site of tonight's big game between Maize South and Collegiate. It's also the site of our every week promotion, great promotion, the greatest show on turf.
Year one for Kevin McClellan, and the style he brought to the Wichita Thunder was as expected. Hard-nosed, tough, and high-scoring. Of course, Phillip Rivers, he's the Kim Kardashian of the NFL. He loves to show up late.
Yeah.
So now he's leading.
He's leading now?
Trying to lead the Chargers back to victory.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Looks can sometimes be deceiving, and Southeast High swimmer Dylan Lee has received more than his fair share this season.
When he gets out of the water and they see that he is special needs, I think they're shocked because he's such a good swimmer.
The junior is one of the Golden Buffalo's top swimmers, ranking 3rd in letter points.
I love Southeast, swimming, and fast, and visit to friends, and go to the water, go dive. This here is my heart.
You would never tell that there was anything different, and that's the other thing about him. As a young man, he's very, very capable.
Dylan has been more than capable of holding his own in the pool, which makes him a true competitor.
He's kept himself there, engaged, which in a sport that causes pain, it's hard for people without special needs to stay engaged.
At the end of the day, to Dylan, it's all about the people who care about him the most.
Do you love your teammates? Yes. Yeah. I like the team. I love you so much. It's my friends and anything. I like this swimming. I like it.
Welcome back. Slow starts and late-game comebacks have been a common theme for Kansas State in recent weeks. Many of those comebacks, of course, Colin Klein is mostly responsible. And while we're on the discussion of Klein, when will the national media finally put Colin in the Heisman Trophy discussion? But I digress. The Cardiac Cats taking on Texas A&M earlier today. What a fantastic contest. We fast forward to the 4th. State down 10, and Klein hits former Wichita Northwest standout Chris Harper in stride, 53-yard hookup, 281 yards for Klein through the air. KSU down 3. Anthony Cantelli, another Wichita kid, former Capen standout, 38 yards. We are tied at 31 and going to overtime. The first overtime game, by the way, in Bill Snyder Family Stadium history. We're in the 3rd overtime, tied at 41. Klein is running untouched. 25 yards. K-State would miss the 2-point conversion, 47-41. A&M responds. Ryan Tannehill on 4th down hits Uzoma Wachuku. And don't mess with my Chuku. We are tied at 47 after they missed the 2-point conversion. Aggies had to settle for a field goal. So K-State, with a good fortune of a defensive pass interference call in the end zone, they are inside the 2, and Klein punching it in from the 1 for the game winner. K-State, 8 wins. It's the first time since 2003. 53-50 winners over Texas A&M and 4 overtimes.
Well, I told our players that I was
hanging tough.
Well, the good luck spreading around the Kansas State family today. Number 5 Boise State fell from the ranks of the unbeaten thanks to Kansas native and K-State alum Gary Patterson and his TCU Horned Frogs pulling off the upset. The Broncos missing on that 39-yard field goal at the gun, 36-35. It snaps a 35-game home winning streak for the Broncos that spanned over a decade. All right, Turner Gill has said that he wanted his Jayhawks to end the season on a winning note. So if you're going to go out with a bang, or at least die trying. Kansas hosting Baylor on Senior Day. 16 seniors playing in their final home game at Memorial Stadium. First quarter, Darian Miller, 33 yards on this carry, 147 on the day. It's going to set up this in the second quarter. Christian Matthews, Jayhawks inside the 5. He keeps it. 10-0 Kansas. Late first half, Kansas strikes again. James Sims from 2 yards out, 296 yards rushing as a team for Kansas. KU up as much as 24-3, but Baylor scores 21 in the fourth to tie, so we go to overtime, and Baylor striking first. Robert Griffin over 100 yards rushing, over 300 yards passing. They're up 31-24. KU striking on their first play of overtime. Jordan Webb to Tim Bieri. They're down a point, so Turner Gill says, hey, let's go for 2. But Webb's pass to Bieri falls incomplete, and Kansas, in a valiant effort, falling 31-30. Afterwards, Webb talking about that final play in overtime.
Just had to give Tim a chance. I mean, the other way, I don't think anybody else would have.
Number 2, Oklahoma State opening the mighty can on Texas Tech. It was that kind of day in Lubbock. Outstanding afternoon for former Southeast standout Joseph Randall. 3 touchdowns. He's 7 yards shy of 1,000 on the season. The Pokes, 66-6 winners over the Red Raiders. Here locally, Friends playing in its regular season finale against Tabor. Friends takes the lead late in the fourth quarter. Tabor looking to respond, but fumbles deep inside their own territory. Falcons would recover and would capitalize with Quentin Benning. The 3-yard TD plunge. Falcons win by a count of 31-21 over Tabor. The quarterfinal round of the high school playoffs extending an extra day with a pair of contests in the area. The big one had Conway Springs in Class 3A hosting Scott City. Corey Misak, he's going to fool the Beaver defense, and our photographer taking it for the long Cardinal TD, 7-zip Conway. Hey, no earthquake here, Larry, just some ground and pound football. Brian Dolphing punching it in, even though the Scott defender picks him up 20-0 at that point. Cardinals advance with a 39-21 win over Scott City. So here are the matchups for Friday. Heights, they'll travel to Derby in Class 6A. In 5A for the 3rd straight season, Hutchinson and Carroll. Class 4A, Rose Hill travel to the capital city to take on Topeka Hayden. And Class 3A, Garden Plain, of course, they'll host Conway Springs. And in Class 2A, La Crosse faces Plainville. 8-man state championships are next Saturday in Newton. You've got Division I, Madison Hamilton will take on South Gray, and Division II, Thunder Ridge and Baileyville B&B square off. All right, that's it with sports.
Absolutely fascinating day for sports fans. I mean,
No
great
question.
games to watch.
Kansas and K-State, great efforts, although Kansas losing, still a fantastic contest.